Para quem gosta de um bom suspense psicológico, a série Cabo do Medo, nova produção da Apple TV, será imperdível. Baseada nos livros Os Carrascos, que já foram adaptado para 2 filmes no passado, sendo um deles com Robert De Niro e Juliette Lewis, em 1991, a nova versão expande a tensão da trama, que cresce a cada um dos 10 episódios. Na história, Max Cady, interpretado pelo oscarizado Javier Bardem, deixa a prisão 17 anos depois de ter sido condenado por um crime que aparentemente não cometeu. Em liberdade, ele busca se vingar daqueles que considera os responsáveis por sua ruína, a antiga advogada, Anna, interpretada por Amy Adams, e o promotor do caso, Tom, papel de Patrick Wilson. Pois, curiosamente, após o julgamento, os dois casaram, construíram uma família margarina e ficaram podres de ricos. E eu conversei com os atores de Cabo do Medo. Confira! Javier, you're an advocate against gender violence, machismo in the industry and everything, but Max Cady is the extreme opposite of what you stand for in real life. How was it for you to inhabit the mind of this character so violent in some ways in the series?
Well, that's what we do here for a living. We pretend, we fake, we are people that we are not, and that's what we do for a living. And we don't need necessarily to agree with everything that our characters think or feel. And that's part of the joy, also having to witness and feel and experience the world with different eyes. So we understand a little bit more about ourselves and others. But again, Max Cady is one kind of a person that I don't want to mess with, of course, and also he's product of his time. By that I mean he's my age, and he has a kind of one kind of education as well. But most of all, he's been in prison for many years, which I don't know what it'd be like. I don't have anybody close to me that have been in prison for 17 years. So, but I can imagine certain things. And at the same time, there is a script and there is a story that you have to fulfill that is already been thought and very well constructed by Nick and Tosca and many other writers, so you have to follow that trace.
Amy, you have a brilliant track record of psychological thrillers in your resume. What exactly did Nick and Tosca's writing bring to the table of difference that attract you the most to this script exactly?
I think the sort of moral ambiguity that Javier was speaking of, and Javier was, to be fair, Javier was signed on when they came to me, and I was like, well, I want a front row seat to that, you know? Like, I need a front row seat to Javier's Max Cady. But on top of that, just the moral ambiguity, and then the building of the family, and then the sort of breaking down of that is always interesting to me, and how that affects you. So there was a lot just sort of baked into the DNA of Cape Fear, but also with so many additions and so much additive depictions and depth of character that it was really exciting to get into.
Oh, Patrick, you have a lot of characters in your resume that face like supernatural threats, but in this series the threat is real, is physical, and it is also psychological. How was it for you? Do you think that is different somehow to deal with this particular type of threat in a show?
If anything, the exciting moments for us to play were those moments where we were sitting at the bar and trying, like, you knew we were gonna, like, at some point the wheels are gonna fall off and we're gonna go at it in some perspective, not giving anything away, but you know, there's gonna be some release of tension, we'll just say. But the exciting moments were trying to befriend your enemy, like how those moments of connection. I think this show is all about connection, and so in order to those are there's moments of connection, and then you can fracture it, but you've got to build the moments of connection before you can fracture it, just so we know what we're breaking, you know. And those, I think, were the most exciting. Some of the most exciting, like the violence and that stuff, the fighting and yelling, that's easy. That's anger. Anger is nothing, you know. It's really The fun stuff is playing the joy and the deception and
Yeah. Max is so good at giving you just enough rope
It's
to
just
hang
enough. It's
yourself.
great.
Oh,
yeah, it's great.
it's so frustrating. Like you think you've gotten
That's a good
somewhere, like
Yeah.
you're like, okay, we're on the same page, and then he reveals he's like 5 steps ahead of you, and
Yeah,
you
it's
see
great.
it, and it's like,
Yeah, playing loss is fun because you
Yeah.
play it to win. And so then when you lose, and we characters lose, all of us lose at some point,
Yeah.
right? The ups and
Yeah.
downs of this series. But when it's actually super exciting to play to win, knowing that your character's going to lose because you know the audience is going to go, oh no!
Yeah. So close.
So close.
That's a good one.
The previous versions of Cape Fear, they were like relentless 2-hour movies. But here you have like a 10 episode time to explore this narrative. What was the main challenge to expand the storyline to create a show that doesn't lose the rhythm of the thriller and everything?
The scariest thing to me about Cape Fear is watching a family be methodically taken apart and dismantled in insidious ways. And the storytelling real estate of TV gave us a way to tell that story with maximum suspense and dread. And what I love about TV storytelling is that it gives you time with characters and it gives you time to build suspense, then dial it down, then dial it higher. And I love that kind of escalating mystery feeling. And the audience is really going to go on a journey in this version of Cape Fear with that tension and dread.
And one of the most significant changes is that this time in this show, the couple is both equally involved in Max Cady's case. Where this creative change came from exactly? How was it originated?
It's so important in this version of Cape Fear that both the husband and wife were involved in the trial for Max Cady. One was the defense attorney, like in the previous version, but the other one was the prosecutor. So they would never have met. They wouldn't have fallen in love. They wouldn't have a perfect life and a beautiful house if it hadn't been for Max Cady's suffering, and in this case, apparently wrongful conviction. So there is a moral uncertainty and a sense of guilt that hangs over this story. And that was one of the reasons why I thought it was really interesting to tell this story in a new way.
And why exactly Javier Bardem was the perfect actor to play Max Cady in this new, fresh version?
Nobody brings terror and magnetism and charisma like Javier Bardem. He was always our first and only choice for Max Cady. The previous versions of Cape Fear, I mean, Robert Mitchum, Robert De Niro, is two of the great villain performances of all time. So iconic. And who else other than Javier Bardem is going to step into their shoes and honor what they did without imitating it? You know, Javier does a new version of Max Cady in this that I think is really interesting and scary.
Why do you believe that having two kids in this, two teenagers in this dynamic now improved the narrative itself?
We wanted the family in this version of Cape Fear to reflect the modern American family as much as possible and to show different versions of being a teenager in 2026 and different ways into the family, different kinds of vulnerability that the family would have.
In your opinion, Nick, as a writer and producer of another amazing shows, why did exactly the audience is so attracted to this kind of narrative of thriller and psychological drama about this perfect family who has been threatened by this person who seems to be a criminal but claims that he's innocent and everything?
We love stories that speak to our biggest fears. And I think the scariest thing that you can kind of think of is the loss of your family. I mean, that's just like the most fundamental terror. And that's why this story and different versions of this story are so persistent and that audiences respond to them over decades.
Lily, how was it for you to build this new version of Natalie that is not like the daughter of the couple, is the both of the couple, is actually just like the stepdaughter of Tom and the daughter of Anna? And do you find yourself to inspiration in the other versions of this character in the previous versions of Cape Fear?
In terms of Tom and Natalie's relationship, I don't think it was ever something that Natalie really was uncomfortable by or felt that. I think no matter what, she was raised with him and he feels like her father. And then as the show goes on and she's really questioning everything in her world, she starts to question people who are blood and who aren't blood. And it becomes a tumultuous relationship of like whether staying and being in contact with your family is worth all the secrecy that they're keeping from her. And as for the previous adaptations of her, I definitely was influenced, and particularly Juliette Lewis's character, I immediately just like fell so in love with her naivety and her youth and her secrecy, and I wanted to carry an element of that. But after a point, I realized like this is my own, and I had the pleasure of speaking with her, and it made me feel really confident in my ability to step in her shoes, which are big shoes to fill, and I knew that it wouldn't be the same, but it just gave me the confidence to portray Natalie exactly how I thought she should be.
Joe, Zach is a new character that is introduced in this new version of Cape Fear. How was it for you to build this development that makes Zach a little bit more like an ally to Max Cady in the first episodes, at least? How was it for you to help building Zach's personality?
It was really amazing for me to have, the freedom to create a character on my own without anything, in the back of my head telling me I should be doing it a different way, or any previous performance to, analyze or not analyze or whatever. So it was amazing to be able to discover him on my own. And with regards to him being kind of an ally to Max in the opening episodes, I think it is very interesting in this version that there's quite early on, or sense quite early on, that there's stuff going on between Max and Zach. And a lot of it stays behind closed doors for a lot of the show and sort of never gets revealed. But it's amazing and just raises the stakes even more, the fact that from the get-go that there's someone within the Bowden household who has already some form of connection to Max. I think it just makes it all the more spooky, really.
And for both of you, why do you guys think that the story of Cape Fear is so fascinating that it transcends generations and decades with this new remake?
Yeah, no, I feel like it doesn't really age, because I think for the most part, Max Cady just as a character is so fascinating and has been played by such incredible actors throughout the years that I think that alone makes it timeless. The fact that that you're going to have performances from different actors in this incredible role that's been reworked and reworked over years through generations, that's always going to be good, because the people making it won't allow it to be anything but incredible, So I think for a lot of its timelessness, I think comes with Max Cady as a character. And I think that Nick in this version has really held on to that and realized that that's the part of it, I think, for the most part, that is really timeless, is Max, and everything around that he just played with and created an incredible spider web of a story that we were all, navigating for 7 months.